helps prevent permanent brain damages and can create from birth or other defects like permanent brain damage if you don't have enough oxygen. So they increased it, and they've never tested oxygen from the brain. I actually was the first person in Canada to have this treatment done to me. So that was my second bit of controlled luck. I flew on the 8 days, still in a coma. I was transferred on a Lear jet from Vancouver General Hospital to Intermountain in Salt Lake City, Utah. You see, Salt Lake City, Utah is 30 minutes from my home in Park City, Utah. So that's why I was transferred there. When I was in Park City, Salt Lake City General Hospital, I started out on the 5th floor, which was the emergency care ICU. Then I was moved up to the 12th floor, which for me was kind of a holding room until I was ready to attend inpatient rehab up on the 12th floor. So I was on the 11th floor, and then I moved up to the 12th floor. And that's where my mind came back. So that's the only place that I remember. My amnesia was dropped, and I could remember day to day. A big portion of my recovery process was humor. I saw humor in everything. When I was in the cafeteria one day, which actually Intermountain has good food, I was in the cafeteria, and the nurses at the next table were playing music. And they told me I told them I loved music. And they said, what song did I want to play? And I said, Style by Taylor Swift. And they said, okay, and they put on Style by Taylor Swift. And then, at 22 years old, I thought it was appropriate to stand in the middle of the table, in the middle of the cafeteria, and do a choreographed dance to Style by Taylor Swift. So that's what I did. And I just thought everything was humorous. And I did not believe I was in a hospital. I refused to believe I was in a hospital. They would ask me where I was, and my little sister had decorated my hospital room. So it had pictures, it had blankets, stuffies, it even had a hammock. And I said, oh, when they asked me where I was, the nurses, I would say, oh, I'm in a movie about a hospital. That's why it looks so much like a hospital, because I'm the star, so it's very realistic. And I wasn't in a movie about a hospital, so they didn't really like that. So one day, my mom had to tell me, okay, so technically you're in inpatient rehab, which means technically you're not in the hospital, because I believed old people and sick people went to hospitals, and I was neither, so I didn't want to believe I was in a hospital. But she told me it would be a little bit easier if you told the nurses you were in a hospital, but you can know you're not in the hospital. And so they said, where are you? And I said, well, I'm supposed to tell you I'm in the hospital. And they said, woohoo! Yeah. The other thing about me that was a big deal was my personality never changed. What I mean by that is the fact that I was who I was. My personality stayed the same before my injury and after my injury. I was always a little blonde girl who was super bubbly, talks a ton, loves to tell stories, and loves life. And even back when I was in the coma in Vancouver, my personality didn't change. To know this, one day they told me to do two fingers, and I could never do it because I didn't know what that was. I was still in the coma, and they said, do 2 fingers. And so then my mom said, why don't you tell her to do a peace sign? And they were like, okay, do a peace sign. And the first time they asked me, I went, peace sign. So my personality was still there, hidden under everything else. And that never changed, which is pretty lucky. A big part of my recovery process that gets brought up all the time is how I went from being a professional athlete to relearning absolutely everything. I had to relearn how to walk. When tubes were taken out of my throat, I had to relearn how to swallow. I had to relearn how to talk. I had to relearn how to move. I had to relearn how to ride a bike. I had to relearn how to ski. I had to relearn absolutely everything. So they said, what's your secret? And my one big secret that I would like to share is the fact that when I was relearning everything, I set goals every day that I knew I could accomplish. Every day I set one goal that I knew I could accomplish, and accomplish that one goal. I didn't look at how far I had to go, or where I came from, or what was in the future. I just accomplished that one goal, so I was taking baby steps in the direction every single day that I wanted to go in. And that's the thing, we're all on the journey of life. We can all do that. I'm still doing that. I am setting goals about becoming a professional motivational speaker. I'm setting goals for skiing. I'm still recovering, and I'm still setting goals. So we can all set one goal tomorrow that we know we can accomplish, and accomplish that one goal. Because we all are on the journey of life. And I get to be on the journey of life. I get to travel around the world. I get to have doors open. I get to live tomorrow. And one of the big reasons I get to live tomorrow is because I was treated with an oxygen analyzing brain bulb in Vancouver General Hospital. So thank you all so much to these doctors who saved my life, everyone who's involved for coming here to listen to my story, because I love to tell stories. And thank you so much to Vancouver General Hospital for going to England and learning about the oxygen analyzing brain bulb and saving my life. The end. Does anyone have any questions? Questions? Yes?
What do you mean by controlled luck?
That's a good question. I actually use controlled luck in my public speaking a lot. But by controlled luck, what I mean is everyone would look at me and say, wow, she's so lucky. And I am so lucky, but there's so many factors that played into my luck. Like, for instance, the first responders just coming back from a convention and being treated with an oxygen analyzing brain bulb, and learning Rosetta Stone in English when my English was coming back, doing lumosity every day, tying down my strong hand so my weak hand had to do everything. And you don't know these facts about me, so you might just say, wow, that girl is so lucky, but you don't know how much of the luck was controlled.
Did you go back to skiing
Yes, I did.
and competing?
I have not gone back to competing necessarily. That's kind of an open-ended question of it. I've gone back to skiing, and I would like to stay a part of the ski industry. My goal actually is to do a segment in one of the movies next year. I would love to be able to tell a motivational story through movies, so that would be ideal. Right now, I don't plan on going back to competition at that level because you have to hit 95-foot jumps under the wind. So even if it's a little bit windy, you have to go. Versus if you're filming, if it's a little bit windy, you can call it and say, I'm not going. And I have a lot more risk management than I had before, so I am very astute to everything, and I don't want to ski on a semi-bad day, so I don't want to compete on a semi-bad day.
Thank you.